Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates. Today we're going to have a look at the National Hurricane Forecast again, as it is really blowing up in the Atlantic at the moment. We've got currently 5 tropical depressions, hurricanes, tropical storms, whatever you want to call it, but actual active systems, and then we've got 2 areas of interest. One is a very low area of interest, only 10% in the long term, so that's pretty much not going to develop at all. Very unlikely that we see anything from that. And then a more likely scenario with 40% chance within 5 days. So it's really just a tropical wave coming off Africa. It's not particularly well forecasted at the moment, but it's going to be developing around this southern portion of the central Atlantic. But you can see it's very active at the moment, and we'll start off by having a detailed look at Tropical Depression 21. So once this, if it does turn into a tropical storm, it will be named. And I think we're really nearing the end of the alphabet now, and we'll start to move into the Greek alphabet soon. But this is not forecast to have any significant impacts, just staying out in the middle of the ocean and really dissipating, just really out in the middle of the ocean. So it's just really another named storm. But we'll move on to talk about Tropical Depression Rene, which is also pretty much an irrelevant storm, not really doing anything. It was upgraded to a tropical storm at one point. If we look at the wind history, you can see it has been a tropical storm winds, very small areas, but did have some tropical storm winds and have since dissipated, but that's why it was named. And it's now pretty much going to dissipate into nothingness within the next sort of, if we look at the warning coming again, next few days. So by Wednesday, it's forecast to really dissipate. We'll now move on to Tropical Storm Teddy, which is a very rapidly developing system, which is going to be turning into a hurricane probably tomorrow evening, potentially by a major hurricane by the good time this weekend. Now, the forecast cone is not going to impact anywhere at the moment, but it's forecast to become a major hurricane, so even if it does come near to land, it could be bringing some very significant conditions. So we'll have to keep a real close eye on this. This would be a very big system of concern if it was anywhere near land, and unfortunately it's not anywhere near land, but it could still change its forecast, and that's something we need to watch. That starts to deviate further to the west to impact the Caribbean or even towards Bermuda. We'll have to keep an eye on that. It's a very slow moving system, and it's going to be rapidly developing into a major hurricane. I think Cat 3 is what is forecast at the moment, but easily could go higher than that to become a major storm. But at the moment, not really an impact to any land, so we haven't got a lot of data on it yet. It's not really an area of interest, unless it's going to be affecting areas of land or come close to land. We'll have a look at Hurricane Paulette, which has recently just travelled over Bermuda, providing very significant impacts for Bermuda. It's currently a Cat 1, maybe bordering Cat 2 hurricane. And its eye went directly over Bermuda, so very significant impacts for them. Haven't seen many reports coming out of Bermuda yet, but I suspect quite significant damage from it. But again, it's meant to intensify as it leaves Bermuda into a major hurricane potentially in the North Atlantic, before maintaining its hurricane strength towards the weekend before downgrading to a tropical storm as it reaches cooler air. And it does look like it's going to make the right angle turn. Don't really know what's going to happen with this. It probably will get caught up in the jet stream, but it's again something we need to watch, and it could be impacting the British weather next week, but it's just something to keep an eye on now. Luckily, this has not impacted mainland USA or some larger islands, but all our thoughts are there with anyone in Bermuda responding to this. Now, the last tropical system we have a look at is something that is one of the weaker systems, but it is affecting land. Now, we've got currently Tropical Storm Sally, which is very slow moving, and it's a very large tropical storm. You can see big tropical storm winds, and it recently just passed over the south of Florida, and I was talking about yesterday, it created a mesocyclone, so very heavy rain and gusty winds, something that would be quite exceptional just in normal times. As it's just a low pressure system, and it has since that was as it was gaining its tropical storm characteristics, it was developing over Florida, which is the exceptional part of it, developing its rotation, and is now a full-blown tropical storm. And you can see it's quite backloaded, so north and eastern side of the storm is convection is taking place at the moment. Probably tomorrow we'll do a very detailed outlook. It's moving very slowly and it's soon going to turn into a hurricane. We'll probably do a detailed video tomorrow looking at just that. Look at the infrared live satellite images and its rainfall radar. So at the moment we've only really got the outer band impacting parts of Florida and Alabama and Mississippi at the moment, just some outer bands. We'll have to keep an eye on that. It is going to develop into a hurricane, it looks like. Not major, but maybe Cat 1, Cat 2. Again, there's a bit of scope, maybe even Cat 3, which would create a major, but it's quite unlikely at the moment. But it's going to be impacting similar areas to Hurricane Laura. Hurricane Laura was just up the coast. You see the dividing line between Texas and Louisiana. It's impacting similar areas, not the same areas, but sort of the similar coastline areas. But it's going to be direct hit to parts of New Orleans, so it could be providing some very significant conditions. And one thing we are seeing with this, it's going to be the rainfall, which is going to be an issue. Not only Cat 1, Cat 2, or maybe Cat 3 winds, it's going to be very significant rainfall. As you can see, these blobs are very close together, showing the storm is very slow moving. So by Wednesday, Thursday, it's only moved slightly inland. It does look like it will weaken quite quickly. If we have a look at, we'll have a quick peak surge. So peak surge is reasonably high, 7 to 11 feet, but nothing as high as Laura, which was almost double that, as it was Cat 4 in the end. But this would be maybe Cat 1, Cat 2 at the current forecasting stage. So still a significant storm surge in its low-lying areas, so it can still be very significant impact. But it's the big thing we're going to be looking at is the rainfall. So if you look at flash flooding, this is from thunderstorms and from the direct convection from the inner bands of the storm. Quite a high chance of widespread, really, flash flooding risk. That's quite a large area for a flash flooding risk, and even moderate and slight values, very widespread, and even marginal, very, very widespread, quite overlooking pretty much the whole of the southeast of the United States. So very significant impacts could be seen from the storm. But it's the US rainfall potential, which is what we've got to look at. 20 inches plus is what we're looking at. 15 inches widespread, 10 inches, 6 inches. You can just see a huge area of very significant rainfall. That's the big thing that's going to be coming from the storm. Very slow moving, and it's going to drop a lot of rain in a long period of time, really. But relative to its rainfall rate, it's quite a short period of time. It could be dropping months worth of rainfall to these areas. So very significant impacts we could be seeing for that. It's similar to, I think it's Hurricane Harvey, which we saw affect Texas a few years ago, which again was a Cat 1, Cat 2, but it was very slow moving and sort of meandered around the coast. And parts of Texas saw hundreds of millimeters of rain and providing very, very significant flooding. This could be something we see here, but again, we need to touch up on the details in the next day or two before it makes landfall, and just see how it really intensifies. If it does get to higher hurricane force, we could be seeing heavier rain and even stronger winds, so providing that flooding risk, making that flooding risk even higher with storm surge plus the added rainfall on top of that. So it's very significant impacts we could be seeing from this, even though it's not the most major storm we're seeing in the Atlantic at the moment. Very active period we're going through right now. Topping off a very active summer for hurricanes. We haven't seen a huge amount of major hurricanes, and with the current forecast, only one is, maybe two is going to be coming up major, and both not really going to be impacting land in the near future. So we've been lucky in that path. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you probably again tomorrow for another update.